We are live. We are here. Hi, Red Raiders, Texas Tech, and beyond. It's Seeing Scarlet. It's Sibby. That's who's yelling at you right now. And that's Shelby. She'll yell at you here in a minute. But welcome in.
Probably.
We are excited for another great episode. Something that's really important today is happening, and we have some more information to. I'm building that up. We're celebrating our 1 year of Seeing Scarlet today, y'all. I didn't want y'all thinking like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, they're about to be picked up by Ryan Reynolds, or not yet, not yet. But yeah, we are going to be talking about our 1 year for a little bit of Seeing Scarlet, and we're so happy that y'all are here to join with that. We got women's basketball to cover, we got men's basketball to cover, we got football, and we got a lot of late nights coming up. Is another thing to
There's a lot
note
of sports today
because
and
of
this week.
everything that's happening. Yeah.
We had kind of a chill week this past week, which was nice, but one more busy week, and then we all can celebrate Christmas. And that's the other thing. Y'all may not see us for a while. We're going to try and do an episode
Oh
after
yeah.
Christmas, but this is our last episode before Christmas. We're not doing anything next week, y'all. We're celebrating with
Yo.
the fams, traveling, and then we'll try to fit one in right before Big 12 play starts for women's basketball. So sometime after Christmas, before the 30th, if our internet works, because we will both be traveling. So we'll try, but for now, this is where
Yikes.
we're at. And yeah, I'll before we get into we'll get into showing some clips and all that stuff from the women's game. We're gonna
Yeah.
preview what is a really fun trip to Hawaii for them. Not only just personally, like, gotta be fun. It's cool that Texas Tech is allowing
Mm.
they're athletes of all different sports, but women's basketball has now been to Vegas and Hawaii in the last month. So who does not? Hey, recruits, are you listening? Texas Tech takes care of the gals. Come on now.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
So we'll preview that. They could be playing a top 25 Oregon State
Mhm.
team because Oregon State won their game last night against a solid Santa Clara, who we also played. But Oregon State will be 8-0, potentially 9-0 if they win their Tuesday game. But rankings come out Monday, so it could be a top 25 game for us, which could be fun. So that's coming up. But first, Sylvie has something planned, so I'm gonna kick it over to you, let you do your 1 year anniversary fun. I don't
I
know what this
know.
is, y'all. I'm in the
I
same boat
think
as
once
y'all. I'm just
we
here.
it's not going to be anything that
I'm scared.
dramatic. You'll get by
I'm
this
sorry.
year. Yeah, but next year, Shelby, I'm after you. No, I have I have a few questions for you, Shelby, some trivia, if you will.
Oh,
Just to
trivia.
reflect a little bit of where we have been. Excuse me. And the first question about Seeing Scarlet. Shelby, who was our first ever
Oh no.
student athlete interview? Who was it?
Well, this is a trick question because there was two. Right? Bree and Kat. Right?
Bree and Kat.
Yeah, that's
Bree
what I
and
said.
Kat.
Bree and Kat.
We had Bree and Kat, and then our first transfer interview was
Mm. Jordan Merritt.
Jordan Merritt, which
Let's
like
go.
thank you. That's a great these are great interviews already. Like
Love you,
look at the
Jordan.
three names that Shelby's just dropped. Like
Yeah, no, we started off
gas.
strong,
Straight
and
gas.
I think after the Bree, Amber, Scott, Goat, and Katie, Big Cat, Goat interview, we had interviews every week for until we got back to
Yeah.
sports. In the
Yeah.
fall, we had pretty much an interview every
We
week
did.
except for holidays, and we were doing all the things. So it was fun. And we kind of just went with it, and we're still doing those. And we've kind of fallen into a rhythm where we do preseason interviews now, and that's where we're at for the different sports. But yeah, shout out Bramber Scott and Big Cat for letting us do that. That was started the whole thing off.
I
That's a
know.
good one. Go. That's still one of our favorite interviews. Go
That's
back and
what
listen to that. All the stories, man. They told some good stories.
I know. I know. And that I think is such a really cool component of Seeing Scarlet is our interviews and things like that. So I was like, let's throw it back. Who were some of the first ones? And of course, these goats are talking to us at the beginning of all this. So it just makes sense. Shelby, your second trivia question.
Oh my god. Okay.
What was the date
Oh
of
my
our
god.
first ever episode? Episode, not
Not
intro.
intro.
First, just our first
I
ever
was thinking
episode.
about this the other day. The date is going to be tricky because no, that's a hard question. But I feel like
Oh,
it was
I
about
know.
this time last year because at first I was thinking we didn't put out a real episode until January, but then I remembered that we were like, let's do women's basketball preview and a men's basketball preview. We
Mhm.
recorded them on the same day when we released them in back-to-back weeks, and we also did a football bowl preview. That's how I remembered we had to have released that before January. So I'm gonna guess sometime around, what is today, the 16th, December 16th of last year, women's basketball
Dude,
roster preview.
you were so close. It's December 15th. I was
Oh,
like,
yesterday! If we had recorded
I
yesterday, I would have gotten it
know.
right by default.
That's
That's great. There
I
we go.
know.
I'm taking
I was
that as a
setting you up.
win.
That is a win big time. I'm like, Shelby's gonna get this, even if she's like trivia. How
I
dare
mean,
you? I'm like, dude,
topic I
you're
got
gonna
you, but the
know.
date is tough. I should have been like, oh no, the date is tough, but I like that. Okay.
I hear you. I hear you.
Of
Yeah.
course, it started off
So,
with women's basketball. Had to do that right.
of course, yeah, and that makes sense. Like it was the time of the year when this started, and yeah. So I'm so proud of you for getting that pretty much right. We're giving that one to you. And then the last trivia question that I have before we can like kind of wrap up this and move forward is, what was the first video to break 100 views? This one you this one's tough. So I'm gonna crack up if you guess it correctly. I'm gonna lose my mind. Gonna lose it.
I do know that we were like, for y'all that think whatever, we were like consistently like 20 views on YouTube for a hot minute. Like we didn't care. We were just vibing.
Yeah.
So I feel like we started to pick up traction. Was it like one of the March episodes when the team's like starting to get close to the tournament? So like maybe like our WNIT preview episode. That's a guess.
That is a great guess.
You're wrong.
Warm. You are wrong, but I love you.
Recap,
but it was on April.
Oh,
it was April 4th. Okay. And it was the episode where Bree Scott won the Natty for the 3v3 that tournament.
Oh, that tracks.
And when Grant McCaslin got hired.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, big episode.
So I'm like, oh, that's so hype. Yeah,
I love that.
So
good callback.
Yeah, you did really well. Good callback to see kind of where we've been and who's been along the way, and that's like where we see people in the chat. So shout out to people that are watching. Erica, Greg, yeah, all of y'all. It's been such a cool experience to live through. And Shelby, I mean, would love to hear from you, but like a lot of my favorite parts of this is not only getting to talk to the athletes, and yes, when we're good, it's so much fun to talk about sports when you're good, but even when they're not, like I found ways that like, oh, I haven't thought about a sport in this way, that like even if it's not you're winning championships and you're undefeated, there's still some beauty in like people's stories. And so I've loved that, and I've really loved getting to meet like parents for the games that I was able to go to. And I think one of the coolest things that we have done or we've seen play out is with our coverage with soccer, and when Hannah scored the walk-off goal and you see this guy like losing his mind in the background, and we're like, who is that? We find out who it is. It's Sam Courtwright's dad, and then we meet Sam Courtwright's dad in like, it's a full circle moment of yeah, like the parents that are supporting the athletes. So I have loved getting to talk to the parents and being like, the first question I asked them is,
you muted yourself there, Sibby. I can't hear you, so I don't know if the people can hear you. I think you unplugged yourself, but you fix it while I'll continue that. I agree. Meeting the parents has been not something I expected. Wasn't thinking of that. I've worked in media for years, and that's just not something I was thinking about necessarily, but it has been fulfilling on this end, because that has been something that has shown us the impact that's being made, and they've been really appreciative. So that's been cool. We've gotten we just got a shirt from a softball parents sent us a shirt of their daughter's announcement. I'm sure we'll wear them at some point. They're really cool. So it's really cool to see that interaction. We just love giving them something to be excited about, and for them to know like, hey, your daughters, your sons, even whoever's watching this, you're going to come to Texas Tech. We're going to talk about them. Like, just know if they're doing something worth talking about, they're going to be talked about at Texas Tech, because that's what we do here. Yep. So it has been. R.I.P. Sibby. Erica says she's back.
I know.
She's back.
I appreciate that. And I came back with Pit Vipers. I saw Viva the Matadors was here, so I had to These aren't
Yeah.
pit vipers, but
Hi, Maddie. What's up?
yeah, and that like that's been a really cool thing too of like connecting with people that you know we all are a part of this like bigger mission and growth, and so that's been really fun too. Is internet friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's the cool part of Texas Tech Nation, Texas Tech Twitter, X, whatever it's called now. Is it's a fun group and it makes it a lot more fun to follow games. And I think we knew that, and that's something that we've tried to tap into. Is like, hey, we get these people on board. They're going to spread the news about all these teams in soccer and now basketball and all of them. So it's been fun, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to do more. And we're going to keep trying to grow it more and grow our content and engagement, and doing lives has been a new part of that. That's a recent thing. So it sounds like maybe soon we're going to try Instagram live. So stay tuned to that for that. That could
I
be a
can't wait.
cluster, but we're going to try it. So yeah, that's where we're at. Thank y'all, everyone. It's been one full year and it's crazy. Oh, actually, we did have a question. I'll answer this now. This is off the top of my head, so I'm going to think about it. But
I love
Cassie on Twitter, X, asked way back when we posted about doing an anniversary episode. She asked us to talk about in this episode where our logo came from and our
it.
name.
Ooh,
So,
that's a good
do you
question.
remember how we came up with our name? Because I vaguely do, but I don't remember exactly. I mean, if you're not if you don't catch the pun, it's a play on seeing red, like like I'm seeing red, like what that phrase, and obviously Scarlet. So that's where we came from. I can't remember what the other options were. There were other options. We had like a Google Drive and we just made up names, and it probably still exists. And we were just like going through and alliteration. I think I'm always a fan of alliteration, and we both kind of were like, I don't know, it sounds good. And we just kept coming back to that. And it was there.
Yeah.
And then from my standpoint, I was like, I had a vision for like a Seeing Scarlet logo. I could see that. And the other names were cool. I don't remember what they were, but I couldn't see a logo. Like I just couldn't see a branding for it. But Seeing Scarlet, it was like coming pictured for me. So that's where I was with it. If you have any other thoughts on the name, and then I can explain the logo. But that's kind of what I remember about the naming process for Cassie.
It's
She's so here, listens later.
Yeah, it's so fitting. Like you are so creative in that way, but like so during that time I was like, I don't know how to create what I'm trying to say, but this is what I feel. And that's kind of what I think with why Seeing Scarlet fit for us. It was like we're seeing red in the way of like it's frustrating that we are wanting more coverage in these certain sports and
I like that.
wanting people to step up. Yeah, and one of my favorite things that I've learned from you, Shelby, you were like, just do it, like nobody else is going to do it. If you want it, go get it. And I remember like with that name, I was like, I don't want this to feel like I hate everything, like seeing red in that way. But it was almost like how can we shift the narrative here of like, we're seeing Scarlet, we are this brand that like tells the stories. We have athletes tell their stories. And so like seeing Scarlet kind of felt a really cool nod to that. So that was like my processing with the name.
I didn't even think about it from that point, but I like that. I like that origin to it. To me, I just like the alliteration, but I like that the phrase, the pun, and it's also like everything we see is Scarlet. Everything we talk about is Scarlet. Everything we see about these players, we see that from that standpoint. We're openly gonna be a biased podcast. We're not covering the whole Big 12. We'll talk honestly about the teams and when they need to improve on things, but we're here to say they're winning a natty in every sport. Like that's the vibes you're gonna get from us. Everything we see is Scarlet. So I love that. And then the logo, for the ones that are on here, the best way I can describe it is my favorite tradition at Texas Tech, like mascot wise, is the Masked Rider. So
good point.
It's literally I took a picture of the horse, and that's the red. Those are actually horse eyes. I sketched them off of like horse eyes. If you ever look at horse eyes, they're round like that. They have that orbs and they drop in. And then just made the eyes in the middle red, Scarlet. It's the actual Scarlet. And then the horse eyes naturally have that kind of winged effect, and that just created like a winged effect, which gave it some fun. And then the Matador hat is obviously Texas Tech. And then the curving parts are actually two S's. The hat covers them, but it's two S's. If I could draw on the screen, I would. It's two S's together that come together like almost like an infinity symbol, like that. And that is for
What?
Seeing Scarlet. So it's horse
Ew,
eyes from the actual, I don't remember which
that is
one,
so dope.
Centennial, a picture made red with the winged effect, and then the hat to kind of cap it off all together was the idea. So I sketched it out on real rough, sent it to Sibby. She was about it, and then we got an actual professional to make it look a little bit better. But it doesn't look that far off from what it started, to be honest, in Photoshop.
It looks
But yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, that is such a yeah. I knew about like the S's, but the horse eyes, but seeing it kind of all playing together, it's yeah. Y'all just got a master class from Shelby of like logo creation 101. But yeah, your creativity is off the charts, dude. Like I'm so happy that I get to hype that
appreciate
up.
that.
But yeah, it's been really cool
No,
to
we
see.
work well together that way. I mean, you're a
We
creative
do.
person too, but
Yeah,
creativity is like I just love bringing things to life, and your vibes are off the chart, and all the
same.
players can attest to that. So no one brings the
Same.
vibes like Sibby does to a game. So we're a podcast,
Sorry.
so that's
Yeah.
kind of where we're at with that. If y'all have any other questions like that, we'll always answer them, even on a non-anniversary episode. But we have literally never talked about our name or our logo before.
Yeah.
And Cassie asked
We
that,
haven't.
and I just remember that, so
Good
I told her I'd
point.
answer it, and here we go. If you're listening, Cassie, I know you'll watch this at some point. You always do. So
Big
she's
fan.
another one. That's the other part of this is the fans we've met along the way. Like you said, like her getting to help her learn soccer and make her a fan.
Yeah.
Shout out Jeremy if you're listening. Got him to be a fan. He became a huge supporter of women's sports this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's often starting his own movements now. Doesn't even need us anymore to help stoke that fire. He's out there, a part of the army. He's a Seeing Scarlet sergeant at this point. He's on the
Ambassador.
front lines
Yeah.
with us now. So and
Yeah.
Erica, same way. Maddie, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same Tyler,
Yeah.
I believe, that's always helped commenting on stuff on Twitter. So yeah, we appreciate all y'all guys.
Truly.
And that's what I got. Let you cap that off, and then we can get into
Yeah.
the show, I guess.
The hoops. Let's
The
get to the hoops. Yeah. Big shout out to all y'all. Big love. One of us forever. Recom Tech. But yeah, let's dive into some sports. Our undefeated Texas Tech women's basketball team is undefeated. And they are in Hawaii right now. So we're going to preview that. But before we get to that, y'all, Education Day happened. And if y'all aren't familiar with Education Day, is Texas Tech women's basketball will host a game, and they invite children from everywhere to come scream for the Lady Raiders. And big shout out to the
Both
friend
teams.
that I go watch women's basketball. Yeah, women's basketball with. She brought me earplugs, and that was such a necessary piece for the game. But yeah,
Clutch.
they won, and we got the highlights here. And dude, the highlights for this game, because I had to leave at half. I am going to be witnessing a lot of these with
second
everybody.
half
They are
was
so
hype.
good. It is so good. Yes. So hit it, Shelby.
Yeah, well, before we get into these, I'll shift it over to those. Let me pull up the templates. But I think the biggest takeaway from this game is a lot of people were calling for it to be close. There was even some Big 12 reporters calling for us to get upset in this game. There's people putting money on us to get upset in this game. Sorry about that. Hope you didn't lose your Christmas fund, because not only did we win, we doubled up what we were expected to win by, which was 14, and we won by, I don't even remember, 40 or something. A lot. 41 points. We won by 41. We were predicted to win by 14 against a team that is predicted to win their conference, a team that pushed TCU. I think they only lost TCU by about 5. TCU was up about 14 or so in the fourth quarter, and so I would say they lost TCU by about 14 or 15. But they played some good teams close, and they're projected to be a tournament team, and we just demolished them. And that is what this team is capable of when they play at their best, as they did in the second half. First half, their defense was great. Their defense is always good. It's the offense that wakes up as the game goes along, so we love that. And we'll just get into some highlights, and then we'll talk more about it.
Yeah, like I said, I left at halftime, but yeah, we ended up winning 76-35. There were over 13,000 people here at this game, y'all. So the environment
was there. All the kids loved it.
Was crispy. But yeah, I think through these highlights you see a lot of standouts. And yeah, let's hit it.
Let's hit it. First play of the game. I'm having trouble
my
telling
gosh.
if it's for sure, but I'm wondering if it was a set play, which is something we'll talk about a little bit more as a way that maybe they're going to do moving forward. But there is a little bit of movement, back cut. Maybe it's natural, but you'll see this. If it is a set play, I want to see more of it because we needed to get off to a better start.
First came at TCU.
Clutch.
Outside Bailey, Moppin rattles home the three.
Like that was
Can
a
you-
good start. And then we slowed down again and then inevitably had a bad first quarter, but the game started well. So progress. Were you going to say
Taking
something?
good shots out of that press break. You know, making good.
Logan Johnson in the paint,
Too
off the
easy.
glass, got
Too
it for the
easy. And she was good. I mean, as you can see, we're down at this point, just trying. Again, our defense is good, so I don't want to complain too much. We keep saying they're starting slow. They're starting slow offensively. Our defense, I looked up this metric earlier and was baffled by the stat. I knew it would be good, but we're first in the country in defensive rating in the first half of games. First.
What? Shelby, that's hype.
That's high. I figured we'd be like top 20, but first. And that's because even when our offense has struggled, our defense typically, there's been a few games here or there. I think Rutgers, we allowed quite a bit. But other than that, we pretty much lock them down. Our offense is a little slow sometimes. But defensively, we're good again, and that allows our offense to wake up.
Enrique again, position inside.
Yes.
Takes advantage of it.
Please give me more of that, Enrique.
One.
I really like this. This is
For real.
I don't know if we're seeing it more, this high post action. And I think it's smart because we have the athletes to do it where we're running and Enrique can pass really well. You'll see this a lot in this highlight package where our bigs are passing from that free throw line and our guards are making those back cuts just like we do here.
Incarnate Word, one
Great pass.
system has him at 350.
Oh.
Bailey Moppin
We
inside
ate all
two
game on
teams.
that play. We did it multiple
Tech
times.
is
You'll see
mentioned
right there
earlier
we're
in
working around the top.
Done a pretty good job.
All game, and we just did it again on that play. You'll see it's a screen from Enrique, a handoff, but it's all at the top of that
It's a way
key
of life.
area.
And Tech
And then they
Mhm.
stop it,
Earlier
and then
in the
Saga, who is
broadcast,
in
done a pretty good
fuego
job.
right
Pop
now.
it, girl.
Confidence
And
off.
drops the three.
Saga shooting confidently
does
is danger zone.
Alina
Enrique,
Enrique. And
great.
speaking up,
Scary.
No one that
Mhm.
pays
Give him more.
teams to a lower points per game.
forced the turnover.
I actually
Win
love that
finds
play quite a
Johnson
bit
underneath,
because
wide open
Dana could have
for
taken
two.
the three there.
One coach told us is the
And she was
idiot.
wide open, and she probably would have had a high probability of making it. But if you saw the score at that moment, we really needed to get another good bucket. We needed to get some points on the board. So she made the smart, she's a sophomore, but smart veteran play there to get it down for an easy bucket from Logan. This is our
Right in
defense.
front
Like
of
I
us.
said,
Here's
first half
Freeland on the
defense.
drive.
It keeps us in these games. We're
No
ahead,
surprise that
but
they
even
went
when we're
right
not
to
shooting
Terrell
as
early
well.
on, put her in an ISO in the middle of
And now we're
the
into
floor
the
and let her
second
go to work.
half, and that's when
Shavers.
Jasmine
In
Shavers
this point guard
takes
position.
over. When Jazzy gets her feet set like this,
Chevalier
watch
gives
her.
it up.
It's
Shavers.
over. When she's in
Perfect.
rhythm like that, she doesn't rarely misses a three. It's when she's getting a
Wrap it
little
up.
hanky janky with it that she's missing her shots. But when she gets calm, gets her feet set, and shoots it, I just make up a word. I don't know what that word is.
I love it.
She's of late been really taking over in the second half of games, and I'd actually love to ask her about that. I don't know if that's a mindset thing or if that's just an adjustment thing they see at half, and they're like, hey, we can take advantage of Shavers doing this. I don't know, but it's multiple games now where the third quarter was the Jasmine Shavers show, and it was again today, or in this game. She had 11 points, and that's where the explosion started.
Get three of the second half. Managers and everybody.
Oh, look,
Beautiful
another back cut
pass,
from the
Elena
top.
Enrique to Chevalier.
Another Enrique assist. Do you have him? I don't have the
Shavers.
box score pulled up, but we've seen at least 4 assists from Elena in this one clip, so she must have had
Merritt rolls. Merritt off the glass.
Oh,
count.
shut
Their
up.
first game
Oh,
at
damn.
coach told us is the
Watch this.
idiot box.
Wait, we'll get to it in a minute, but I'll talk about it. In
Oh
a
my
minute, you're
God.
going to see a really huge growth moment from Jasmine Shavers in this game, and I think I just watched the press conference this morning, and I think Gerlich talks about it too, but something she doesn't do, she rebounds great, she scores great, she averages 1 assist a game, but that's where she can really grow is her distribution when she starts doing that. And you'll see this play where she's really patient. It's coming up in a minute. And she waits for Jordan to get open on the roll and get a perfect pass for Jordan to score off of. And that's a huge growth moment because it's right here. So you see how I have it paused, how much space she has? She could easily just stop right here and shoot. She could.
Mhm.
But the play, she knows what's happening. She's trying to play within the system and do what this team's trying to do and get the even higher percentage shot, which is what Jordan's about to get because she's about to roll on this girl, have her pinned, and it's an easy bucket all day for Jordan. And she waits for it to develop and passes it. And that's such a big growth moment for Shavers because as she becomes that 3-level threat where she can pass and rebound and score that we've seen from some other guards. I mean, you have 2 guards like that out there doing that on a night. That's dangerous. She waits for that. And she like that. She wasn't even looking to score. She was like, I'm going to get this. And that'll, trade off. And next time she can score it. So anyway, I'm pretty sure Coach talked about that in the press conference I watched this morning. But if not, I noticed it during the game too. So I might be making that up in my head. But either way, it's huge
it's
moment
accurate. Mm-hmm.
Season 31.
And then it's just defense by.
That's another one. That is number 20.
Merritt.
Nice
I need to know if they fixed that.
inside.
I tweeted it, but Merritt does not have a steal in the box score. So if anyone from ESPN, Texas Tech Stats, after this game, 0 steals. Was that not just Jordan Merritt stealing the ball? That was Jordan Merritt stealing the ball. She should have at least 1 steal in that
Big
game.
12 play. And that's such an advantage for them.
Jada win.
Jada win.
The confidence
I love
of Jada. Where she's like, waits on it. She's like, you're really going to leave me? You're not going to step up on me? You're just going to stand there? Like, this is like what's going through her brain. She's like,
pay the toll.
You're literally just
inside.
Block come Big 12 play. And that's such
pay
I'll
the toll.
Just shoot it.
Win from the outside, and she rattles
that's
the
confidence
4
shooting
games.
right
She's
there.
had
And then
26.
Kyla.
Oh,
The
Kyla.
We'll talk about Kyla here in a
God.
minute, but she's such an important player on this team. Such an important player. Here's one of my favorite clips. Let you watch it here. It's great.
Double. Third
Best part of this clip, though, is in the background. You know we're always watching everything on Seeing Scarlet. That's Seeing Scarlet, Seeking Scarlet moment.
Scarlet.
Seeking Scarlet exclusive moment. I want y'all to watch the bench in this background and watch Bailey Maupin specifically. She is everybody in the gym because Kyla Freeland has dunked it in a game. She can touch the rim in high school, and we're all waiting for her to have that moment in college. And she dang near had that moment here, but that girl caught up, so she just went for the layup. But you can see Bailey in the background wanting Kyla to dunk it, and it just cracks me up because that's everybody in there.
How about Kyla Freeland? Those long arms for the double. Third double.
You can see Bailey in the background, like, doing this, like, dunk it. That's literally everybody in the stadium was like, dunk it. It's gonna come by the time she graduates. She can get out there and touch the rim.
Boy, that just
Logan.
opened up for Logan Johnson, and she's got the 3.
kind of a slow, ugly start for both teams.
And then we
Once
just
they've gotten
the
to
fourth
the
quarter
rim,
was
done what they
really
do well.
ridiculous in this
They
game.
press,
We
they
really
defend, they score off of their
crazy in the fourth.
McKinney.
Do it, girl.
From downtown.
The confidence right now.
The 3.
That combo.
There's going to be good things ahead.
That
for them.
combo.
Dangerous.
Jada win inside, gets the deuce.
Getting more and more up to game speed. So
Wow.
we'll just let those play. But yeah,
So good.
it's fun. I mean, the competition's about to ramp up as we're going to talk about in preview as they go to Hawaii, and then Big 12's here, and we get that. But this is a projected tournament team that they just dismantled at home, and those 13,000 kids, I'm sure, helped. Even though they were cheering for both teams, they still had to help, and I think the juice from that helps. And I think if you take nothing else from this game, it's get out and support this team. The next time you can watch them at home is January 3rd against Texas, who is a top 5 team. They're number 5 right now. I don't see that changing. They do play. They have a top 10 matchup before they play us. They play Baylor. So if they beat Baylor, they could be like number 1 by the time they get to Lubbock. Who knows? But they're a top 5 team. It's going to be a huge game, and we're obviously going to be the underdogs on paper. I get it, but that's the next time you can see them. And if you get them even half of that crowd every night, this team will win games that they're not projected to win. Like, that's the thing in women's basketball is you're just expecting this team to go out there and win all these games with no crowd support in some of these stadiums across the country. That's silly. Luckily, we're one of the better attended women's basketball programs in the country, but we can be even better. I think we're 3rd in the conference right now. Like, let's be first. That stuff matters and it helps them. And you saw that even with kids screaming. At the beginning of this game, we were a little too juiced. We had some silly turnovers. And then once they calmed down, they took over. They just absolutely took over. And this other team who has played a lot of good teams this year close or beaten them just crumbled. And so, yeah, let's get out and support them and be there January 3rd. I don't know what time that game is yet. I don't know if it's been posted yet, but it will be against Texas, and that's the last time you can see Texas in Lubbock as a Big 12 opponent, and probably ever, because you know how Texas is. They're wimps. They won't come
I
back to
know.
Lubbock. So
I know.
that's probably
we
the
know.
last
We
time
know.
you'll see, until we force them to come back in like a NCAA tournament. We're like a host or something. They got to play on our ground
Tell
or
'em.
something. I don't know, but that's probably the last time you do it. So yeah, get there.
Tell them, be there. Yeah, what I noticed from this game in particular, and I was listening to you break it down a little bit more, but the patience. Like, if I could put one word on this game, it was the patience of, yeah, you're seeing a lot of our players like taking that time to assess or not force things, and patient to like let relationships grow and part in that type of chemistry. I think that's how I would describe this game, is seeing a lot of that. And yes, we need to start faster and some other ways and stronger and things like that. But I think that patience is exactly what you were talking about, seeing that maturity of our players. And we're undefeated, and that's earned. And I think a lot of that credit goes to how much they're growing game by game. And like, we're going to talk about Kyla, like a lot of these players too. It's the full team that's contributing. Again,
Absolutely.
it's impossible for us to
Everybody
just
has their
say like,
moments.
yeah, we cannot sit here and have a show about them without talking about everybody on the roster. Like, even the ones like
Yeah.
that are out for the season, like JoJo's participation and hype and Jazzian's and like everybody that is there. That's we're all in. Everybody's all in. So I agree with you with being there, and like what Erica's saying, of being there for this team. It's a really impressive team to watch if you love the sport of basketball. If you love
sure.
the sport of basketball, go
If you
see
actually
them
like
dunk on
basketball.
them at UT, or sorry, here against UT.
Yes, yeah, be there for that. And the alumni, the locals really need to show out for them even more than they already do, because again, students will not be back in town yet. So if you're going to go to a game, if any game this year, go out there and pack the stands for them, be loud, and bring some friends. Don't just go alone. Grab a few friends and go with you on January 3rd.
Grab a stranger.
Grab a stranger, an enemy, all the things that we say on here. Your ex, all of the stuff. Take your exes.
Take a stranger over your ex.
Trademark.
Come on.
But yeah, like their patience, they're sharing the ball well. I think it's the third game in a row with 20 plus assists. We've talked about that being a key point for them. They turned it over a little too much, especially in the first half. But most of those turnovers were like really silly turnovers. They were unforced turnovers, which are frustrating. But unforced turnovers can be fixed quite easily. That's a mental thing. Let's just be smarter with the ball and take care of it. Versus like we just don't have the skill. Like it's not that. It's a mostly just an unforced thing. So 13,000 screeching kids. That's got to be an environment that's different than really anything you'll ever play in, because it's not like 13,000 sports fans. It's screeching kids. So I understand I think we had like 5 turnovers in the first minute of the game or something, and then we calmed down. So I wouldn't read too much into that, but we shared the ball well. And I think Kyla Freeland is becoming one of my favorite players to watch. Like, she might be my favorite player to watch on this team, because I think the best way to describe Kyla is like, I don't know how other teams can scout Kyla Freeland. You know what I mean? So like if Sibby was like, hey Shelby, you're a Texas coach, and you're like, hey Shelby, I need you to scout Texas Tech and tell me how to stop Bailey Maupin or Jasmine Shavers. It would be difficult. Like there would be things like you're not going to shut them down completely, but there's ideas I could have. I'm not going to say them because I don't want to give out our scouting report. I'm not going to say what those
We're
are.
biased.
But you could come
We're
up
biased.
with some things and be like, you need to do this, this, and this, and that'll slow them down. They struggle at this. This is what they do well. Let's not let them do that. Blah blah blah. What are you going to say about Kyla Freeland as a coach? Don't let her outrun you down the court. She's an elite athlete. She's a track star. You can't she's going to outrun pretty much everybody, especially at her size and length. So you can't stop that. Okay, you want to put everybody back so she can't run? Well, then you're just never going to get a rebound. So, okay, thank you. That helps us defensive rebounding, because you're so scared of Kyla running back that now we can just pluck the rebounds, and if you miss your shot, easy money. Thank you. She doesn't really have plays ran for her outside of the play that everybody and their dog knows that keeps working every time. Toss it up to Kyla out of bounds play that she just out jumps you and tips it in.
Yep.
Everyone knows that exists. I'm sure there's some plays that are drawn up for some set plays here or there, but for the most part, Kyla Freeland is dang near averaging a double-double just by hooping every night, just by going out there and giving 100% effort of like what she has at every moment of the game. She's playing 100% and outworking people, and you can't scout to stop someone that just outworks you. You can't. Mm-hmm. And so that's why she's so important on this team, is the other teams don't have a way to take her out of it. She just does what she does. And like we'll talk about the Hawaii games, and the Oregon State game is going to be a really fun test for her because they're going to be so much taller than she is, but she's going to be able to outrun them down the court. Like there's ways that she's going to be able to combat that. And yeah, they might get rebounds over her. Cool. They're taller. They can't keep up with her. So she's becoming important. The only thing you could really do is like get her in foul trouble. And so she has to be smart about not getting easy, dumb fouls, because we need her on the court. And Jordan Merritt's the same way. She's just a savvy veteran in the same way that Kyla does it. And Kyla just has that speed element to her as well. So Kyla's real fun. She's only a sophomore, y'all, and she's very raw still. But the more you watch her, I'm just like, how do you scout for Kyla Freeland? Like, how does another team take her out of the game when she's off script? She does all this off script. You can't plan for someone that's off script. And so that's why I love what she brings to this team.
Yeah, the off script is a great way to describe it. And I totally agree with you. I'm like, good luck if you're matched up with her, or any time that she's in your presence. I remember we talked about her a little bit more last episode too, and I'm with you. I'm really excited to watch her play in general. I am like, I can't even measure the potential that she has. Like I can't wait until she dunks. I can't wait until she, I don't know, like scores 70 points. She's capable of so many things. So I'm excited to watch her grow. And and like you're talking about too and I know you'll get into with our matchups that we have coming up, but knowing the teams that we're playing and knowing the challenges that we're going to have, especially in conference play. And as much as we're like talking about Kyla too, I'm seeing some of that attitude shift to Alina Arike too. Like there's going to be players that are taller than her, but dang, she can work. Like all of these players can just work. And I think that hustle is unmatched, and we've seen it with their defense. We see it with their full court press, and I'm excited that that's going to be our strength. It's like height is going to be a challenge, but where are we going to see?
Is what it is.
Where are we going to see us adapt? And I think, like you mentioned, Kyla is going to be at the forefront of a lot of those really powerful performances that we have this year. So, let's get into Hawaii. Tell us everything about them.
First out, shout out Carmen. Thank you for watching over on Facebook. And she says she loves those Lady Raiders. We do too. That's why we're here, but appreciate it.
Same.
Thanks for watching, sharing all the things. Relatable content. Yeah. So they're over in Maui this week coming up. They got there yesterday, I think. So they got a few days to adjust. I'll be honest, I did not realize the time change was so different in Hawaii. Me, sad East Coaster over here, is going to be watching midnight games. Midnight starts coming up this week for me. It's fine.
Wake up,
we'll
Granny.
Take naps. Yeah. Old grandma over here. We'll take naps in the middle of the day. We'll be fine. But Tuesday, first game, they play Tulsa, who don't sleep on Tulsa, right? We're going to be favored by a few points, is my guess, by the time that gets here. But Tulsa has recently beaten Florida, SEC Florida, where Jordan Merritt came from, 72-64. They recently beat Clemson, 74-64. They got worked at TCU, 82-50, right? So that's the disparity. Some games, they're great. If they're shooting well, they're hard to beat. They kind of, I have not watched them play, so I couldn't find any film when I was like trying to watch them the other day. But just looking at their stats, they like to shoot it. They're like 15th in the country in attempts from three a game, 27 a game, basically. They shoot at about a 31% clip. But when you're shooting that many, 30% go in, that's a lot of threes. You know what I mean? So that's what they're just trying to get them up and hope enough go in that they can beat you. And when they're shooting well, they're hard to beat. As you can see, they've beaten an ACC team and an SEC team recently. So they have two players. Pondexter averages 21.4 points per game, and Crawford averages 17.3 points per game. Basically, in those games where they beat Florida, they were both analytical upsets. And beat Clemson. They both had over 20 in the TCU game. Pondexter might have had like 15 and Crawford had like 10. So obviously, if those both get over 20, they're hard to beat. That means they're shooting well. This feels like common sense, but it's also basketball. So I'm thinking maybe similar to the Santa Clara team. I would have to watch them play, but they don't have the height piece that challenges us. But they're overall decently sized from the guard position. They're athletic. They just shoot it. That's what Santa Clara did. They just shoot a bunch of threes, and they have some that shoot it well. But they just it's a volume thing for them. Pace wise, they're very similar to us, so it's not a team that we're going to be able to try to speed up. They want to play the same way as we do. About similar. Neither of us are like tops in the country in pace, but we're somewhere in the middle. Both teams we're a little bit above average on pace, and both teams that they don't turn you over a lot, which always makes me happy. Which is also similar to Santa Clara. If we're turning it over, it's probably not because they're forcing it; it's unforced errors. So as long as we take care of the ball, we should be good there, and maybe we can turn them over a little bit more than they're used to and get the win. But you can't sleep on them. So I think it's especially if Oregon State, who we'll talk about in a minute, comes into that game ranked. I think it's possible. They were already receiving votes and they just beat a really solid Santa Clara last night. I think, and now they're going to be 8-0. So Monday rankings come out. I could see Oregon State being ranked. With a young team, you don't want our team to get caught looking to the next day, being like, oh, we get to play a top 25 team and sleep on Tulsa, who again just beat Florida, just beat Clemson. So they're a good team, and we need to go in accordingly and play our game. I mean, that's just what we're doing at this point. You don't have to do a lot of, I don't think you have to do a lot of scheming necessarily, like you're going to have to do against Oregon State because of the mismatch size-wise, but you can't let them shoot. Like, they can't make like 45% of their threes shooting almost 30 a game. So you got to run them off the three-point line. Very similar to the Santa Clara game, I think, is what I'm getting here. Maybe with a little bit better big play. But overall, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from them. And that is on Tuesday at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. I didn't even see where these games are streaming. I don't know if it's been said. We'll figure that out. Hopefully it's not Flow Hoops, but
YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's YouTube. It's free. I saw that last year. LSU played there last year. So
it's amazing.
We'll all be able to watch on YouTube together at midnight for that one. So any thoughts on that before we move on to the next?
No, I'm totally with you. I think it's a really cool experience, and like some of the parents I've talked to of players, like they've been really excited, it seems, for this opportunity. So I'm curious if like other factors come into play with them being in Hawaii, like the time zone change ? I hope that they're figuring it out. I'm
glad they got there early.
I think
they will have had plenty of time to practice and get used to the time change by then.
Yeah. But that being an adjustment, but also a really cool experience. And yeah, like Shelby was talking about Tulsa and then Oregon State, and then we play again. Not to skip too far ahead, but since we won't be seeing y'all for a little bit, we have Houston at Houston on December 30th, and then back home again against Texas. So like we're there, y'all. Like it's time to get even more so. Like we've been treating, I think, every game as like don't sleep on them. Like you're saying about that, Shelby. I think I've appreciated how our team has been showing up, and these two games are going to be really, really fun to watch as we continue to see that competition. So yeah, make sure y'all are watching them. That's great. It's on YouTube. Love free ways to watch women's sports. So
yeah, I don't have to
do that.
5 million clips for y'all watching on Flow Hoops as the only person that had a subscription in the Texas Tech universe.
Oh man, yeah.
For y'all. So I'm glad it's not on there.
Thank you
I would have been able to watch, but that was exhausting. To do that at midnight too, I don't even know if I could have done it, y'all. Don't know if I could have done it. So everybody can watch
for the
on
gals.
YouTube. Probably would have done it. So that's the Tuesday game. Win that. Now you're 12-0. Oregon State also plays on Tuesday. They're playing Louisiana, something or other. We don't have to play them. There's 3 teams down there. That's the one that we're not playing. They play them on Tuesday. The next day, Wednesday, we have to play again. And that's another one of those less than 24 hours away things. Short rest for the way we play. We saw that in Vegas, but we pulled it out against Santa Clara in Vegas, so you hope you can do the same thing against Oregon State. That is a 12 a.m. midnight Eastern start, 11 p.m. start, and that's if everything stays on schedule, because I'm assuming that's the second game of the day.
Oh, no.
It never stays on schedule, so let's just go ahead and assume that's going to be more like 11:30, something like that. It'll be 12:30 a.m.
It's
for me.
amazing.
It's fine. It's fine. YouTubing it late at night. We'll be all in the chat. We'll take over the YouTube chat, I'm sure. We'll have fun with it. But that is Oregon State. This is one that a lot of people have been circling for a while. Both Texas Tech people, outsiders, I think, have been circling it to be like, we'll find out if Texas Tech is for real. We know at this point, because we actually watch their games, that we're a solid team and can compete this year.
Tell them.
I think there's a lot of outsiders that don't really watch our games that are looking at this game and are like, okay, let's see how they do. And I am looking at this game as a great litmus test for how we're going to be able to do against teams that are much bigger than us. There's not going to be a lot of teams even in the Big 12 that are bigger than Oregon State. Because Oregon State, again, they might come in top 25. I kind of expect them to. We'll see how their votes trickle in. But either way, they're right on the cusp. They start 2 players taller than we even have on the... Well, we have one player.
JoJo.
We have Big Jazz that might play some in this game more than she usually does. But of our main players, they start 2 players taller than anybody that we have on our main rotation at 6'4" and 6'5". And Beers, who's really one of the best bigs we'll face all year. She just got a double-double against Santa Clara to put her as like 9th all-time in Oregon State history in double-doubles. She's just... It boards, shots. Their stat chart, their shot chart is hilarious to look at. We can't put pictures in here, which is weird. We can only do videos. I was going to show it to the people.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that's lame.
It's like legitimately just like 90% within anywhere of the rim. Like, and they just shoot like over like 200 shots within 2 feet of the rim. It's what they do because they're just bigger than everybody else in 2. So that we can't grow 6 inches overnight. It's just not going to happen. So, like, right. I wouldn't want to, like, get in an apple picking contest with this team, but thankfully we're playing basketball. So there's ways to scheme around it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, I was with you the whole way, and what a jump scare that was.
Kylie can jump up there and get the apples, but it's going to take her more time than they could just grab them. You know what I mean? So, they're gonna probably just win the rebounding battle. Now, if we somehow win the rebounding battle, we probably win this game by a good margin. But let's just be realistic. It's probably just not going to happen. It's what they do. They're like first in the country in defensive rebounding, where they rebound like over 80% of their opponent's shots. So if you miss it, you only have a 20% chance of getting it back. And that's what happened against... They played Santa Clara. I watched a good bit of it this morning while I was doing some work. They played them last night. And Santa Clara is a good team. We've talked about them. Projected tournament team. Well, they're in a tough conference. It's them or Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference. We've played them already this year. They murdered Oregon by like 30 at Oregon earlier in the year. So they go on the road. This was at Oregon State. And they just, bless them, could not make a shot for their lives. And when Santa Clara can't make shots, they don't, especially against Oregon State, they don't really have another way to generate offense. They don't press like we do. They're not going to get second chance points against Oregon State. And they were getting pretty good shots. Oregon State did a decent job on defense, pressuring them and stuff. But for the most part, they were just missing shots. And so that thing got out of hand real quick. And Oregon State, credit to them, won by like 30. And so that's a really impressive win for them. That's why I think they could be top 25 come Monday. We'll see. But the things I took from that game is... we can't hear from the coaches because they would never tell us their scouting report for the game. But it is intriguing that they get to watch a game like Santa Clara, who is similar in size to us. Athletically, we're more athletic than Santa Clara. We play a different style of basketball. But if you remember when we played them, they also don't really have someone over 6'3" in their lineup. They play a lot of guards. They shoot it a lot. That kind of style basketball. They didn't have anybody to match up against these 6'4", 6'5" players either. They even have a 6'7" player that comes off the bench, I believe. They didn't have somebody, so they play probably similar to how we're going to play, where they were just helping down low, and they'd have 2 or 3 people helping on the big. 2 or 3 people. They try to play zone at some points. Oregon State just made their threes, and they shoot it decently from 3. Yep. Another thing I really saw in this game is something that I hope we're ready for is they run like they'll have two bigs, so 6'4" and 6'5" player, in the game at the same time. They start together, and they'll both stand a little bit above the elbow and just be ready to screen, and then the guard gets to pick which way she goes, and so they screen off of it, and then
Okay.
they roll. And what Santa Clara was doing was hard rolling down with the bigs, because again, they were like, we got to, we can't one-on-one these bigs, and we'll probably have a similar mindset. And so when they went hard down and had two or three people with the roller just trying to stop that, the guard didn't press. She didn't try to get up to the goal. She didn't pass it. She stopped at the elbow and just shot all day. They nailed mid-range games, shots all game. And I went and looked at their stats, and they just do that. They are one of the best teams out there at mid-range
To do it.
shots. And so that's an area, if we can cut them down and force them to pass it out and make a 3 instead of a 2 there. And if they're making the 3s, they're gonna win, right? That's basketball. But force them to take the harder shot is something that hopefully we can do. They had, I think, 22. Their point guard had a great game in these against Santa Clara doing that. So just something I saw. And then additionally, an area where I think Santa Clara didn't really take advantage of, and I just don't think they're capable, is Oregon State looked really slow, like getting up and down the court because of those bigs. Maybe their bigs just weren't trying, and they will against us. But they didn't. They were always the last people down the court. Like, I'm talking like the play would already be started and
Happen.
they're
Yeah.
at half.
Yeah.
They're at half court. You know what I mean? And so I think we're faster than them and can take advantage of it there. But that was kind of where I was with that game, and I have some more takeaways. But if you have any thoughts before I continue.
No, I'm looking forward to hearing more about them. It's cool to like hear your perspective of it and see it applied. And I think another piece that you brought up too is the limited time of rest. And so kind of what we witnessed a little bit
Bummer.
in soccer
I wish
is
we could have played them
when we
first.
had to yeah, that's true. So yeah, to see again like a collective team effort, but again, that's probably my toxic trait. I'm like, we're gonna win.
We're gonna win. I think we
it's- yeah.
can. That's the thing, is like, I think we're gonna be the underdog, and
Oh, totally.
outsiders are
Yeah.
gonna think, you know,
Familiar,
and I
yeah.
get it. We are definitely height wise, so like overall advantages. They're taller. Again, would not get an apple picking contest with this team. We would lose. But this
Get
is
those
basketball.
apples out.
So like, you can't. That's not gonna happen. They're gonna probably out rebound us. They out rebound everybody. It's just whatever. If we out rebound them, we're definitely winning the game. They're probably going to win the points in the paint battle. That's how they score their points. Look at their shot chart. It just is what it is. And their mid-range shooting has been great. They're really good there. And they also defensively, naturally with those two bigs, don't give up a lot of shots at the rim. So, you know, Bailey's been really good. Jazzy's been really good at getting in there, making those shots at the rim. I'll be interested to see if we're able to get those. If we even, I mean, we'll still try them. We're not going to play scared. But how successful we're going to be at that game, just straight up, we might have to run some sets and get them some space. So that might not be an area where we're going to be able to get a lot without running some stuff. But where we have the advantage is Oregon State's plays really slow. Like, they're in the 35th percentile in the country in pace. We're not like zooming up and down the court by any means. Well, in transition, we play really fast. We slow it down when we get on offense, so our pace is a little bit slower overall. But Oregon just plays, they don't really run, at least in the games that I've seen, and their metrics support that. They don't run. They just rely on their bigs to get offensive, defensive rebounds, putbacks, get it down there. And those two bigs just didn't seem like they wanted to run. So I think that's an area where we're faster, we're more athletic. Yeah, our bigs are smaller height-wise, but we're leaner, we're more athletic, we're faster. And I would love to see us force the issue on that and not play. Listen, I'm not a coach, so I'm actually interested to see what they do, but you could do it two ways. You could try to match up. You could try to play Big Jazz more, and I'm sure she'll get her opportunities. But I'd also just like us to say, yeah, you're good at that. We're really good at this. Let us show you our style of basketball and see if we can beat them playing our style of basketball instead of trying to match up playing theirs as if we don't have a chance if we play ours. So I'm sure there'll be a mix in between, because that's how sports work and you have to do matchups. But I would love to see if they can handle our press, see if we can force turnovers. They don't really force people to turn it over much, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. There's not a lot of on-ball pressure for them. They're really low in the country in stills, so as long as we're not unforced turnovers, we should be fine. So if we can just force turnovers with our press, we can get more possessions that we probably won't get from rebounding because they're going to win the rebounding battle. We can still get more possessions by pressing and getting turnovers and by pushing the pace and getting more opportunities to shoot instead of playing at their slow pace. So we talked about this a lot in the summer. Like, we're going to play these big teams, run the bigs off the floor. This is our first chance to really see, like, can we run the bigs off the floor for 40 minutes against a true Power 5 team? We kind of saw it in Rutgers, but this is a true test right here. This is a top 25 team. So I'm excited to see how we play it. And I'm all for Big Jazz having a game. Maybe she will. Maybe that's the game plan. And she's capable if she plays to her best. But I'd also like us just to be like, cool, you're tall. We have Kyla Freeland and Jordan Merritt, even Elena Enrique that can run the floor. See if you can keep up.
Yeah. Good luck. That'll be fun for you, I'm sure. But yeah, I love that, and I love that seeing where our strengths are in our defensive efforts and our full court press, and seeing how that's gonna impact this team that is really good, both of these, Tulsa and Oregon State. So that's exciting to think about. There was something else that I had top of mind, but it has since been fleeting. But yeah, it was really good too. It was gonna completely shock the world.
The only
so
other thought
I'll hang on to it.
maybe you'll think of it while I'm saying this, or maybe this was it. Is it when you look at their shot charts, they don't seem to guard the corner three at all. Like, people are just getting shots like crazy. Well, their shooting percentage is high from there and from the top of the key. So a lot of in and out play might be what's going on. We'll throw it down to Kyla for a show. She'll pass it back out to Saga Riley in the corner where they love it. They'll shoot it. Bailey, Jazzy at the top. They'll love it. They'll shoot it. We need to make some shots. I just don't want them to come out pressing as in tight on offense, not defensive pressing. Because I feel like when I watch Santa Clara now, this is deeping it a little bit, but when I watch them from a sports psychology perspective in that game, they look like a team that had either been told by their coaching staff or just because they're Division I players and they're smart basketball players knew, man, we got to make shots in this game because we're not going to rebound. And they were tight. And so they were like, if we don't make shots, we can't win. Because we can't we're not getting to a second chance. And so they were terrible shooting. I think they only made like 1 or 2 threes the whole game, and they averaged a lot, 10 or so a game. And so as much as you want your team to understand like the rebounding thing, I just hope we come out playing free and just play our basketball and not worry too much about it. Yeah, we might not get as many second chances off of shots. They might win the rebounding battle, but you can get it back on defense. So like, don't tense up too much, because that is probably what happened against Santa Clara. Is they knew like, if we don't make our shots, we're not getting the ball back, and they didn't.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of what I was thinking about. You talking about the identity and just showing up with what we know and how we know to be successful, and it's very clear in a lot of different ways. So staying true to our identity is what I've noticed, both with covering soccer and even volleyball. Like, that when that happens, that is some magic. And when you have that confidence and like, no matter what the other teams bring in, we know us and we know our ball. And that's, I think, what's really, really cool. What I've noticed from this team is when they do stay true to themselves, both as like individual players and as a team, it is magical to watch. Like, Bailey Maupin doing this like scoop underhand pass that I've
love that pass.
Seen her develop. I'm like, oh, that is so fun. And like, I love, because she's so good with it. And like kind of what we talked about with soccer, like these unique individual efforts that like some of these players bring, and you have a coach that trusts you and empowers you to do that on the court, be you on the court, and whatever you're doing is working. It's like, let's go, baby. Like, I'm hyped. I'm sweating just thinking about this game, so can't wait to watch.
I'm here for that. Yeah, same. We've been looking forward to this trip all year. They've done the work. Their schedule.
Wish we could have gone.
People think it's not anything to write home about, but it's a lot better than people are giving it credit for, just because of the styles of defenses they've had to play and the different styles of offenses they've had to play. It's been really well scheduled. From that standpoint, they've seen a lot of different things, and that should prepare them, and they've had to make adjustments, and they've proven that this staff is elite at making adjustments as well. So I'm excited for this trip. I'm excited for them to get to play Oregon State, no matter Tulsa as well. Again, they've beaten an SEC and an ACC team. These are two solid teams that will only help your resume and prove to people. But no matter what, it's not easy to go 11-0. in basketball at the Division I level. I don't care who you're playing. It is not easy to win 11 straight games. It's just not. And so
Period.
they should
Yeah.
be proud of what they've done. And hopefully at the end of this trip, they're going to be 13-0 going into, we won't preview it right now, but a fun little road trip over to Houston to start Big 12 play, which will be an important game. But we'll talk about that game the next time y'all see us after Christmas. We've all celebrated and seen Santa by then.
Yeah, I'm getting Cole. I don't. That's not even a funny joke anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah, that'll be really fun. And I don't know if you have anything else on women's basketball before we move forward,
I
but
think
I think that's a good
that's about
closing.
it.
Like we hype to watch them play. Duh. And something else that's hype is men's basketball plays tonight, baby. We got the
Vanderbilt.
tech sports that are happening tonight. Let's get into it. But yeah, Texas Tech takes on Vanderbilt.
I don't have like a
the
huge
men's team.
preview
Yeah.
for them because by the
Yeah.
time a lot of people are seeing this, the game will have already happened because it starts in like an hour or two. So
Oh,
it starts soon, a couple
nice.
hours, I think.
Mhm.
So, but that's another chance for them. They're on the road in Fort Worth, I believe. I'm expecting that to be a 90%
Texas
Red
Tech.
Raider crowd, and that really is a nice arena. So I think it could be a fun, basically home game for them. A chance to get a win against an SEC opponent is always fun. A chance to gel more together as a team. They are learning. Again, they lost the starter 2 games ago, and you saw that play out in their last game. And they had a chance to really blow that team out. Oral Roberts, they were in the second half, and they were starting to. And then when a team like that is shooting the 3 the way they were shooting it, like, it doesn't matter who you're playing. If they're going to make shots like that, they're going to stay in the game. And that's what it is. I thought we played relatively good defense. They were just making stupid threes, and then we still found a way to win. So I thought Warren Washington had a great game, which is cool because him and the Devin Cambridge that got hurt are really good friends. They were played at Arizona State together. They came over, so it was cool to see him kind of step up for his brother there and get it done, and we'll need more of that. And interestingly, we didn't see Kyron Lindsay, but my guess is Jennings won the battle in practice. You just got to trust the process there that coach is like, if you're winning the battle in practice, you're getting the game minutes. And so we got to see Robert Jennings get those minutes, and I think he had like double-digit rebounds or something. So he can finish a little bit better closer to the rim, and he'll get that figured out. But he was rebounding like a menace, a little young Noren Odiase out there as a rebounder. Needs
to see it.
to polish up his game a little bit, but he definitely goes after it. So that'll be fun to see, and I'm excited to watch him play. And then if you have any thoughts on men's basketball, then we can wrap it up with football, who also plays tonight.
Yeah, I know. I think this is one of the first years that I mean, for all of these sports really, to be following as closely, and I am so interested and invested in the men's basketball team and their story this year with everything that has happened since the jump, right? Like since the exit of our last head coach, and so knowing that they have this terrible injury that happened, and how are they going to adapt, and like you said, like that gelling together a little bit more and using this game as a way to do that. But yeah, when they succeed and when we watch them play and like giving it their all, I think that's such a brave thing to do right now and commendable, and like they're getting it done. And if it's close or you want it to be a bigger margin, like they are grinding it out on that court to get the dub, and that's all that we can ever ask for any of our teams. So I'm totally with you of like, yeah, some team shooting threes like that, okay, damn. And let's figure it out.
We still won.
Yeah,
there's
we
teams
got
in
it.
the past that would lose that game out of frustration. That is one thing you've seen from the men's team this year is they're gonna fight and they're gonna grind through those moments, and they're not gonna get mad at each other. And we saw the vibes are still good on this team, which is something you want to see moving into conference. That they're gonna fight, make the tournament. That's my goal for them.
Yeah,
they do anything else, that's great, especially after the injury. I'm excited to see them get it going. They're start conference play here soon as well, right before the new year. Same as the women. I think they might start down in TCU, so another home game for us down in Fort
no
Worth.
kidding, right?
If they are letting us buy tickets,
lizards.
Not blocking us out of the arena like they do. But yeah,
she's not better.
We'll talk about
me too.
We'll talk about their first Big 12 matchup when we talk about the women's next week a little bit more and get into that.
For sure.
Yeah, that's basketball. And then tonight, again, we got football. fun facts on football. We interviewed Bryn Williams from Texas Tech Volleyball this week. Go watch
Great
it.
interview.
It's a great interview. There's a lot of questions about the Texas Tech Volleyball program. Stop asking questions and just go watch these interviews. I'm tired of people asking us questions in the comments when we have put the answers out there for
We're
y'all.
giving
We've
it to you.
We've
Yeah.
interviewed the head coach. We've interviewed one of the returners. They're literally telling you what is going on with the Texas Tech volleyball program. Go hear it from them instead of all the speculation online. And you will hear her, I think she said, paraphrasing it, we put the quote out there in full, basically like, the conference is tough. We're tougher. We know what happened last year. There's no reason to dwell on it. We're going to get this program back to like where we want it to be next year. And they're already working. She talks all about it and she'll fire you up. Like, they're working hard. It's not going to be the problem in the offseason. We'll see how the talent meshes together, but there sounds like a really talented class coming in. They just picked up a really impressive setter from Virginia Tech. We had one of our transfers out, was our setter. Hannah is her name, Borer, I believe. Let me say the last name, but she was sixth in the ACC in sets. She would have led our team, or in sets and assists. She would have led our team in assists if she had that many on their team this year. So she knows what she's doing. She's only a rising junior as well, and she'll pair well with the freshman Caitlin Cochran, who had some moments as a setter as well. So it'd be fun to see them work together. So they're already picking up people, and I'm sure they have other people on the radar.
She's passing the vibe check so well. Like, I think that's what's really cool
happy
too.
To be
is
here, and you love that. And she's
the vibes are so good.
She's enrolling in January as well, so she'll be here to start practice.
Yeah, and I think she's Bren's roommate, right? So like, that's what a great roommate. You're gonna have a great time. And yeah, that team will be really interesting to see how things shake out and puzzle piece fitting together. But yeah, go watch them. And Bren's interview is so good. I mean, we say that about every single one, but
they're all good.
Sometimes I'm just sitting there and I'm like, you are a sophomore in college and you are having like this profound experience that you get it. I'm like, damn, when I was 19, I was like, it was totally different. So I've really appreciated that about all of them, but especially Bren's.
Yeah, she was great. You never know how those interviews are going to go, especially it's really easy to talk to athletes after they've had a great season. Like, very easy, but like to talk to them, it's almost more intriguing and interesting to talk to them after it's been a tough season, because she's still in the right mindset and ready to turn this thing around. So, and I'm not gonna not believe her. So it's gonna be fun. Get ready to work. So the reason I brought her up, besides the interview being great, is her brother, Miles, I believe is his name, plays for the Cal Berkeley Bears, who are taking on our Red Raiders tonight. And she and her family are going to the game, and she was discussing in that. Maybe we'll try to sneak the clip out here in a bit before the game starts. But she was discussing, she's like, I don't know what I'm going to wear. Like, of course, I'm rooting for Texas Tech, but like, also my brother's playing. So it was a fun little conversation where they're talking smack about it. So he actually shared her interview. Even I saw he
do the
Kelsey
jersey.
Day, so. Yeah, so that's cool. So she has a little bit of a split, a family feud going on as we have a Red Raiders brother playing against Texas Tech tonight in whatever it's called, the Independence Bowl. He's a safety for them, I believe. Miles Williams.
Yeah.
Have a good game, Miles.
Number 13, I think.
Texas Tech's going to win. Sorry about it. That's just life. I'm excited. Texas Tech football has had a banger of a week in the transfer portal. I don't know how you been paying attention, but we picked up one of the best receivers in the portal, multiple good receivers in the portal, and now you're pairing that with a Micah Hudson who's coming in. And we got one of the best tight ends in the portal, who also is from Groover. Shout out Groover. Billy Maupin's fun. It's a small town up there in the Panhandle, and now they have two Texas Tech Red Raiders showing out on campus. I'm sure they know each other. They have to in that town that small. So that's kind of cool that Groover's taken over. And I think Conyers is his last name. So yeah, Joey McGuire, I love Texas Tech fans because just like a month ago, everyone's like, I'm never going to drink the Kool-Aid again. Joey can never get me that excited again. We're like a week or two into the offseason, and everyone's like, national championship next year. Do y'all see these recruits? You see these gifts? We're back, y'all. Like all these other teams are excited about making the college football playoff. We have a bowl game. No one's even like talking about the bowl game. We're all talking about next year already because we're getting these recruits. So our fans are so easily persuaded, and I love that for us. We're like, on to the next national championship, 2025, I guess it would be, because the game wouldn't be until January. But hype. So good stuff from Joey McGuire and the group. They're really and not as flashy, but more importantly, they picked up a couple of really good offensive linemen in the portal,
Yep.
which was a struggle this year. So
Mhm.
I'm sure Baron Morton
Yeah.
is happy about that.
I know, kidding. I hope he is, and I'm excited to see all the change of energy, if you will. And that's so clear to like see from our fans and stuff like that. And I think another thing with Joey, what I've appreciated about him is the operation and the culture that he's setting. It seems good, and we talked about Micah back in the fun like summertime where he had his whole social
of the
media
podcast.
like escapade. Yeah, it was so much fun. Y'all should go watch that episode that we did when
It's
we
one of our
we
best
talked about him.
episodes
But
ever.
very funny. But like he talked about how the relationship building is that's such a key piece for him. And I remember when like football was just really struggling, and I'm like, dang, I wonder what people are saying about like Micah, like, ooh, you're gonna go to this losing whatever. But the cream of the crop is there, like the relationship building.
Yeah.
And Micah's like, yeah, dude, I'm still going. I don't know what to tell
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Like,
The real
so
ones know what's going on.
yeah, I love that. So I hope that they have a really fun, great game tonight. I know that there's a lot of missing pieces. Y'all boys,
Yeah.
y'all have fun. Like, I hope you have a great
Show
time.
out.
You make a friend. I hope your family's there, your friends are there. And I hope we get a win. And if we don't, still gonna love you. And can't wait for
This is
a
true,
national championship
obviously.
next year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is all about winning the national championship next year. That's where we're at this
Yeah,
point.
like,
Unfortunately,
yeah,
we can't do it this year, so we're gonna move on. But yeah, I hope Baron
Yeah.
can have a good game. Maybe he got some rest in that shoulder, but yeah, this is all about the future now. I have no idea who's playing tonight because all the portal people. I don't know if any of those are available to play. If we have any
gonna be fun.
receivers, like I don't know what receivers we're throwing out there right now, to be honest, because a lot of them hit the
Can
portal.
I go?
So we'll see if maybe those guys are still playing. But the biggest thing for me tonight is it'd be cool to see Baron have a good game, but most importantly, these seniors. Like I want Rabbit to go off. I want him to have a couple interceptions. I want the mayor, Tony Bradford, his little counterpart there on the defensive line. Both of them guys, I just want them to have the best game possible that they can possibly have as their last game as a Red Raider. That's my hope for tonight as well as a win. But I want like him to go off, have sacks. Baron
Get
do
that
his thing, but mostly I want those seniors to have their big game. Can we get like little Rabbit out there on offense? Maybe get him a touchdown. Oh my god, I'm putting in the call right now. Texas Tech will do this, and I will clip it.
They will.
We're gonna put Tony Bradford in on a goal line play at the end zone, and he's gonna score a touchdown on offense. We're gonna throw the ball to Tony Bradford tonight for a touchdown. Book it. Calling it. Give the mayor what he deserves in his last game at Texas Tech. Let that man catch a touchdown. Let him run it in for a touchdown. That's what's going to happen. Kitley is creative. McGuire loves the man. It's happening. I can feel it in my bones.
It's Texas
Bradford's
Tech,
scoring a touchdown tonight.
Yeah. Like that's the kind of storyline that we expect to see with like Red Raiders or Texas Tech anywhere near it. Like I was making a joke on Twitter about anytime Joey McGuire sends out a tweet, it's always a very chaotic gif from like Mad Max or whatever movie.
Tweet,
and it's just like that. Of course, chaos is like where we're like, ah! And that may be our downfall as Red Raiders. Don't know, don't care, but
it's fun.
Love this play that you drew up, Shelby. And I'm putting money down that's gonna happen.
Yeah, Tony
We're gonna be
Bradford for a
millionaires.
touchdown. Yeah, I don't know if that's a betting line you can take out there for an anytime touchdown.
I was like, I don't know what's legal,
but if possible, if you're in a state that betting is legal, go do it. It's legal in North Carolina, so I can say that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Well, they just voted it in. I don't know when it goes into effect, but anyway, it's legal.
Whatever.
So, yeah, go do your thing. Yeah, let's call it. Can't wait to clip that. It's gonna happen. At this point, I will be shocked if it doesn't happen. To be honest, that is typical bowl game behavior, and we all love Bradford. So let him get a touchdown.
I love bowl game behavior. That is such a great tagline. That is amazing. I can't wait to use it all the time.
The play last year where we had Baron line up under center, and then he stood up on his little tippy toes, and the ball also snapped between his legs to Tyler Shuck, and then Baron ran out for a pass or something on the goal line last year. It was wild stuff.
Bowl behavior.
So bowl game behavior, and Tony Bradford's going to be the recipient of that one tonight. So let's get it done. Outside of that, we'll just end it on this nice little comment from Tom.
Yeah.
TT Rex. Go Lady Raiders, 11-0. Awesome. We agree.
Yeah.
We talked all about them if you're just joining the show. Back it up. Earlier, we did our clip show as we do with them, showed the highlights, and previewed a really fun trip they have in Hawaii, a chance to go 13-0.
Very cool.
Either way, a chance to come home learning a lot right before Big 12 play, and it's a really important trip, and it's just fun. Shout out Texas Tech again for supporting our athletic programs the way that they do and allowing them to take those trips. There's a lot, especially women's programs, there's a lot of schools that would have been like, you can go to Vegas or Hawaii. We're not paying for you to go to both in the same year in a 3-week period. It's just not going to happen. At Texas Tech, they said, you get the opportunity, let the athletes do it because they put a lot of work in. Again, these athletes, you can, hopefully people watching aren't this way, but I know some people are bitter towards athletes, but they put a lot of work in so they get these opportunities like this. A lot of them are never going to be able to go to places like Hawaii or even Vegas, especially not at this age. And it's really cool that our program does that, because even some schools would have turned it down being like 10 days before a conference. We don't want that distraction. We don't want that travel. Our coaching staff said, no, this is a good opportunity. They deserve to go. So shout out them. Go do work. Get a couple dubs. Learn some things. Come back. We'll see y'all next week to preview Big 12 play for both the men and the women. But that's what I got. Oh, shout out
Let's
our
do it.
friend RG2 with the card.
Yeah.
Best show on the internet. I mean, who are we to argue with RG2 in his card?
Nobody can argue with
I'm not
that.
gonna
You know,
argue with
RG2. I'm not going to argue with RG2. RG2. Sorry, I tried to make something of that, but yeah. Appreciate the love. And yeah, another year, or this is a year, y'all. If you're just tuning in, yesterday was our first episode ever. So thank y'all for being along for the ride, and let's keep it going into the new year, 2024. Turn up.
Let's go. Oh my gosh, 2024.
Cool.
That's wild. All right.
I know.
See you guys.
All right. Bye, Red Raiders. Wreck 'em.